Welcome to Pale Blue Pod, the astronomy podcast for people who are overwhelmed by the universe but want to be its friend.
Yes, it's true. I'm so happy to be here today. I'm Corinne Caputo, a writer, a friend to the universe, a friend to Moiya, friend to you.
You are. Hey, friend. I am Dr. Moiya McTier. I'm an astrophysicist and a folklorist, and yeah, friend to the universe, friend to you all.
Yeah.
Today, we are, I feel very at peace where we are right now. We are sitting on the banks of a bubbling mountain stream.
We sure are.
I am dipping my toes in very quick bursts because it is cold. But very refreshing.
It really is.
Yeah.
There was an alert last weekend in Maine for the first beautiful day. They were like, you can go to the beach, but remember you might experience intense shock in going into the ocean. So be careful because you could pass out. So the water is still cold, everybody.
It is, yeah. You got to remember the temperature of the air, not indicative of the temperature of the water. Yeah,
exactly.
And there are two reasons for that. One, the ocean, which is the water you would be next to, it's very big. But also,
Huge.
Water has a higher heat capacity than air, so it stores heat for longer, and it takes longer to heat it up.
Yeah.
That's also why, if you are in a pool that's 70 degrees, it feels very different. It's colder than air at 70 degrees.
And it takes a long time to heat up a pool.
It does. High heat capacity. We should have talked about this in the water episode, but that's not what this episode today is. That is not what we're here for. Today, we are going to be reviewing the movie Valerian and the City of 1,000 Planets. What a title.
What a title. What a film.
It was an experience. That's for sure. We're gonna summarize the movie. We're gonna say what we loved and what we didn't about it, and then we're going to rate it on our very serious rubric system. We change it's out of 15 stars or whatever, but I think because this is the City of 1,000 Planets, maybe we rate it out of planets.
I love that.
Okay,
yes.
Great. Okay, cool. Then let's get going, because it's a long-ass movie, so I think we need to,
It is a long movie. It is streaming on Prime, I want to say, is how I watched it. So definitely, if you don't want this spoiled, go watch it now on Prime. And if you are comfortable getting it spoiled, let's go. So this movie is written and directed by Luc Besson, and I must be pronouncing that wrong. He is French, and that is a hard language for me to pronounce. But he also wrote and directed The Fifth Element, which you may be familiar with.
I love The Fifth Element.
I actually have not seen The Fifth Element. Ah! So this was my introduction to this guy.
Then at some point we will be watching The Fifth Element.
We'll watch that. Okay, great. But the story of Valerian is based on a French science fiction comic series called Valerian and Laureline. And Besson independently financed and personally funded this movie.
What?
Isn't that crazy? This movie had a budget of around $223 million.
What?
I can't imagine.
He personally financed it? Oh my God.
I mean, he might have had like financiers, people who gave him money to do it, but he did not make it in tandem with a production company, which, if you're unfamiliar, is a very unusual way of doing things. Usually when you personally finance a movie, it is an indie film. It is a lower budget movie. It might be a little more artistic. It might be more niche. This movie, to me, has broad appeal, so I'm kind of shocked that it was independently produced. Yeah. My running theory is that maybe he didn't want to make it under any network and then get notes from them. He really had a vision for what he wanted this to be, so he wanted to make it on his own and sell it later, which I know artists can sympathize with. Yeah. But it came out in July 2017. Mixed reviews from critics. Seems like everyone, though, did praise the visuals, which are notable.
Yes.
It grossed $225 million worldwide, but due to its high production and advertising costs, It was considered a box office flop.
Oh.
And when you Google the movie, you know how like Google sometimes preview questions that other people have Googled?
Yeah.
It was like, one of them was, is Valerian a flop? It made me laugh.
Oh my God. Imagine your movie makes $225 million and it's still like a net loss.
I know. It's kind of depressing. Okay, I'll give you as quick a summary as I can. It is a movie that's over 2 hours long, but not as long as like Marvel stuff. So not so bad. This movie takes place in the 28th century. It opens with like a montage type sequence showing ambassadors / astronauts of the US. They're up in the International Space Station. More and more extraterrestrial beings come on board and like join their little ship. So it's, imagine like a Lego thing in space where like more ships keep attaching and like you keep meeting more aliens.
Did you get the sense that it was them like after they had added stuff onto the International Space Station? Because even at the beginning in that montage, like, it's still huge. Like, it is way bigger than our ISS.
It is way bigger than our ISS. And I think canonically it is the ISS that grows, but I know, like, literally that can't happen for the ISS. So that is one of my... I wrote, Moiya, please confirm if this is possible. And it's because... So... It's the former ISS. It's expanding with all these new species and new attachments. And then it gets so big in mass that it threatens... It threatens to cause gravitational disruption to the Earth itself. So they move this thing, the spaceship / floating city / floating planet, I guess, to deep space. It's now called Alpha. And it lives in deep space. And it is still moving. It's still, like, traveling through space. But... they moved it to a place where it won't, I guess, bother other planets. And I just don't think that is possible, that we can create a spaceship that has more mass than Earth. That it would...
Not like, us. Not us, but like, I mean...
But a thousand planets, maybe.
Yeah, with the help of thousands of alien species. I think that is doable. Very, like... I don't know, presumptive of us to think that the alien species would all gather here and add on to our ISS, but okay.
That is what I'm thinking too. Also, all of the aliens we meet, and we'll get into this in one of my peeves, like, look like people.
Girl, like, you know that's one of my peeves.
Okay, good. I'm so glad. Okay, we'll get to it. So, this Alpha planet, we'll just call it Alpha, is now inhabited by millions of species from thousands of planets. And in a depressing twist, we learn that the future does still include police. And there is this police division created by the United Human Federation, which is, like, again, presumptive that humans are at the top of this.
Right?
Not like beings or species or whatever. So to preserve peace throughout the like, it was created to preserve peace, supposedly. And then among the staff is Major Valerian and his partner, Sergeant Laureline. And Laureline is played by Cara Delevingne. Valerian is played by, I think his name's Dave. I don't know, Dave.
I think his name is Dave. Cara Delevingne, and I think his name is Dave.
He's like... had never seen him before. I don't think I've seen him since. I don't know who this guy... Yeah, Dane. Dane DeHaan.
Oh.
It's a Dane.
Interesting. Okay.
Okay, so now we're in a totally new sequence. We saw the, like, how the ISS grew. And now we're on this, like, idyllic planet called Mule. M-U-L. There's, like, an umlaut over... So there's this beautiful humanoid species that lives there peacefully. They have little pets. They wake up and greet the day. They're just, like, thrilled to be alive, it seems. They fish for pearls in their idyllic ocean. And these pearls contain enormous amounts of energy. And the people there, they're not people, they're species, but they look very much like people.
Yeah. And they look like the Na'vi from
They look exactly
Avatar.
like Na'vi, and that's one of the things I want to talk about, too, of, like, this budget is huge, but different than Avatar, and visually not that different from Avatar. Okay, so then they have these little animals that we later call converters that you can, like, feed an item to, and they'll, like, duplicate that item times a million. So they'll, like, feed it a pearl, and it, like, poops out more pearls, and it's, like, an endless thing of pearls. So they're having this, like, peaceful day, and then suddenly wreckage is coming through the sky. Like, it looks like the, you know, meteors are coming down, or comets or something, but it's, like, you know, ship debris and weapon debris. Like, there's some war happening above their planet. And a lot of the people of Mule make it into this, like, safe, discarded spaceship, but there's one princess who's left outside, and she has to, you know, look in the eyes of the other people as she dies in this burst of bright color.
So sad.
It is very sad. And then, boom, Valerian shoots awake, and the mule stuff was kind of a dream. Mm-hmm. And he's on this, like, you know, VR beach, and we meet Cara Delevingne, and we kind of see their dynamic. And an analysis from Valerian's ship says that he received some signal from across time and space during that dream.
All right, he's like the ship's name is Alex, and Alex says these brain waves are coming from outside of your brain.
Yeah, I heard that, and I was like, he seems like unfazed in a way that he shouldn't be.
Right, I would have a much bigger reaction to that.
Yeah, I would actually be startled. Okay, so but back to his current mission, because he is part of this, you know, army, or he's a soldier. He described himself later. He's retrieving a mule converter, which is one of those little animal guys, and it's the last of its kind, and it's currently in the hands of like this black market dealer, and they need it. The government needs it. Mm-hmm. So, side note here, he kind of randomly asks Laureline to marry him, and she brushes him off, as I think she should, because so far their dynamic is so fucking weird. Like, I don't think these people are in love. I don't know what's going on.
It feels like they've just spent so much time together, and they know they're going to spend a lot of time together in the future because they are work partners, and they're like, well, I don't see anyone else. Marry me? Yeah.
And she's like, you're a playboy. Like, I'm not, this isn't what this is. Mm-hmm.
She literally asks the computer to pull up a list of all of the people he slept with, like their pictures.
Exactly, which I wish, that is so fun. I love that. Okay, so Valerian and Laureline travel to this odd marketplace that's like a VR thing where you like check in, you wear these glasses, suddenly you see this whole world. Mm-hmm. And they sneak around, they capture the converter, and he secretly steals one of the pearls from Mule. So there's like an adventure that happens there. They make it out alive. But back on the ship, Valerian learns that Mule was destroyed 30 years ago, like 30 years before. And all the information about it in the government system is classified, so he can't get access to it. Meanwhile, or later, Valerian and Laureline return to Alpha, where the commander, Arun, Philip.
I did not even bother to learn his name.
Yeah, I didn't learn his name either. But he informs them that something odd is happening at the center of Alpha. So there's this like highly radioactive spot that's happening in the middle, and troops in the area like haven't come back, and the radiation's getting worse. And Laureline and Valerian are assigned to protect this guy during like a summit to discuss this radioactive crisis. And I have a lot of this information of this plot I learned later when I was looking up the summary of it, because as I was having a hard time following what was going on.
It's not the easiest.
It's not the easiest.
Yeah, there are a lot of details that they cram in.
And I think the last movie we watched,
Prospect?
Prospect, yes, I was like PP. Prospect, I feel like, didn't hold our hand much, but I understood everything. And I think this movie really could have held our hand a little bit more.
Yep.
Just to keep up with what was going on. Okay, so, well, Laureline and Valerian are like, sure, we'll protect you, but we're going to keep this converter, the little animal guy. We're going to hold on to him for now. And that isn't really the plan, but fine, whatever. Like, let's move on. So, again, the converter is an animal. I kept thinking they were talking about a machine.
Right?
But
Terrible
no, it is
name.
this little, like, hedgehog-type dinosaur guy who can fit in your hand. And he's very cute.
So
and
cute.
Laureline cleans him up, and he looks, like, shiny and new again. I don't know how he survived, but whatever.
Puts him in a little tank with a uranium bath and leaves him there for what seems like over a day.
Way too long. And I'm like, it looks like you're microwaving him.
Yeah.
And then when he comes out, he's, like, beautiful colors and, like, happy. And I'm like, I've never seen something like that. Okay, so during the summit, the people from Mule arrive, like, shockingly, and they kind of incapacitate everybody and kidnap the commander. Mm-hmm. So Laureline and Valerian are in this, like, goo. They have, like, a special tool that cuts them out of this goo.
This is a small thing, but Valerian goes to get Laureline out of her, like, goo cocoon, and he just cuts it with a knife, and it feels like he should have scratched her because the goo is very close to her and it's very thin.
I hated that. I was like, if I'm cutting someone I love out of goo, I'm going to go for the side.
Yeah.
I'm going to go for maybe underneath. I'm not going to go for, like, directly down the middle of their beautiful face.
Uh-huh. Glad we're in agreement.
This guy sucks shit, but I can't wait to get into my peeps. So, serious adventures happen. Valerian and Laureline are separated. She's kidnapped by this, like, goofy group called the Bulan Bathers of a planet.
Right.
And they have, like, a funny personality, actually. Like, one keeps trying to dress her up, and, like, she says no. That was one moment I maybe liked in the movie, but then it got weird really quick. So...
But first, he disappears, and she has to go find him first. And then she gets kidnapped, and he has to go find her.
And now it's a role reversal. She finds him. She, like, touches this butterfly, and it, like, pulls her into their land. So Valerian needs to sneak into their world to save Laureline, but he can't look like a human. He has to look like one of those aliens, and he is advised that he needs a makeover. So then he goes to this, like, kind of seedy underbelly.
Paradise Alley.
Paradise Alley. Ethan Hawke is there. He's a pimp. He plays a pimp named Jolly, I think.
Yes.
So he's like, what do you need? And he's like, I need a shapeshifter or something. So he's like, I got the best one in town. A glamapod. That was it. And he's like, I got the best one in town. Come on in. He goes into this, like, strip club type thing. And guess what? This was a twist. This was a huge twist and probably the best moment of the movie.
Uh-huh.
Who's on stage but Rihanna?
It's fucking Rihanna on stage.
She's shape-shifting. She's dancing. She's in every beautiful outfit you can imagine. And it is really cool and really out of place. And I loved it. And it turns out she is this shape-shift. She's a glamapod, which can, like, shape-shift into anything. They refer to her often as, like, an artist. Her character's name is Bubble. And when Bubble's in their, like, non-human form, they're this, like, blue octopus type thing with tentacles. But Bubble can latch onto Valerian, and then whatever shapeshift Bubble wants to do, it will appear like Valerian is that as well. So they sneak back into this area where Laureline is as one of their aliens, and they watch as meals are presented to the emperor of this alien group, and with each meal he rejects it, and then finally Cara Delevingne approaches, and you're like, oh, she's the final course.
Right.
So this isn't fun anymore. Now she's going to be eaten alive. Like, they're going to eat her brain, really.
I mean, honestly, when she gets kidnapped and she's taken to this Paradise Alley place, my immediate thought was she is going to be sex trafficked. And I'm glad that it went to food trafficked instead of sex trafficked.
I completely agree, because when they started offering her dresses, I was like, I don't like this. I don't like what's going on here. And I still didn't like it, but it's kind of easier to stomach. They're going to eat my brain than I'm going to be trafficked.
Right.
So Valerian and Bubble rescue Laureline. They escape, but Bubble dies in the process. And this moment, to me, they were making this moment. First of all, Rihanna should not have died.
No.
Second of all, they were making it as if, like, Dobby died. As if, like, this character I have years of relationship with is dead. And instead I was like, I just met Bubble. Like,
I was upset because of who you got to play Bubble.
Yeah.
Also because it just seemed like, you know, trying to neatly tie off that portion of the story with this character's death so that Valerian didn't have to follow through on his promise to get her a real ID. I didn't like it at all.
Why couldn't Valerian just be like, call this guy in this town? Like, I have connections around the world. Like, I think Valerian needed to be more like an Indiana Jones type, and instead he was a government employee and regularly is like, the law will have to handle that. And I'm like, no, you're supposed to be like a cowboy, a cool guy who's like breaking rules and like Robin Hood. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, Valerian and Laureline, without Bubble, venture further into the radioactive area. Turns out, not dangerous, not radioactive. It's actually the remains of a antique spacecraft, and the people of Mule are there.
Oh, hey.
So they are actually called the Pearls, and their emperor explains that his people lived peacefully on Mule until the battle that we witnessed in the beginning occurred between the Federation and some other faction. And the human commander, who we don't really like, ordered the use of fusion missiles that disabled their mothership and sent it crashing into the planet, annihilating Mule, killing the princess. And just before the princess died, she was able to transfer her soul to Valerian's body, which is how he saw that dream.
So it travels through time and space to get to Valerian, however many light years away, 30 years later.
30 years later, exactly. So when the surviving Pearls were trapped in that down space vehicle after that battle, they managed to repair it. And in repairing it, there's this montage of them learning all of human technology and human history, which I thought was so funny because we're certainly not leaving like that kind of DNA in the spacecrafts we make, although that would be special.
Yeah.
They eventually found their way to Alpha, where they kind of snuck in, assimilated, and like learned more than they knew before, and were able to build a ship of their own. So now all they need is a converter / little animal and a pearl to launch their ship and find like a planet to recreate their peaceful world. The commander admits his role in this like genocide, but argues it was necessary for the war. And Valerian and Laureline have like a brief disagreement over like handing over the converter, handing over the pearl, because they're like, our government fucked up, but I think there's like a judicial way we can solve this. And I don't think there is. Just give him the pearl.
Yeah, it's not that hard. Like he's like, the converter is government property. Like, your government killed all these people. Like,
they also said that the Pearls people are so evolved that they were able to forgive humans, and now all they want to do is move on. And I'm like, that's a pretty easy out. I don't know about that. That's like a very easy storyline thing of like, oh, they lived long enough and they actually learned so much that they know how to forgive.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. But they hand over the pearl, they hand over the converter, and the Pearls prepare for their spacecraft to take off now that they have all the things they need. And then these K-Tron robot soldiers, who we've seen like kind of sort of throughout, and we know that they only respond to like the commander's wish. They don't listen to anyone else. They attack the Pearls. So there's this like one massive like battle before it can be over, which these people have been through enough.
Yes. We as the viewers have been through enough by this point.
There are so many mini adventures in this movie. I was so exhausted. But the spacecraft leaves. The commander's arrested. Valerian and Laureline are left adrift aboard like their service module. And Valerian proposes one last time. This time with a pearl ring, one of the pearls from the Pearls. And Laureline tells him maybe. And they make out as a Rihanna song plays. And we zoom out into space.
Great summary. Like, truly a beautiful, concise
one of my more efficient
summary.
Summaries, yeah.
I mean, but like for a movie like this, as I
was watching it, I was like, there is no way to explain what the hell is going on.
Like, you didn't even talk about the whole the submarine adventure.
Did not. Oh my God, Moiya, I completely forgot about the submarine. The jellyfish that they had to get to.
Yeah, that
and she had to wear it on her head.
For no more than a minute.
For no more than a minute. And I didn't even talk about the 3 little monkey guys.
Oh, we'll talk about the 3 little monkey guys.
Were they ducks? I don't know.
Like aardvark gargoyles. That's
That's exactly what they were.
Yes.
Wow, I can't believe how much I left out and yet how much I did say.
I know. Well, great job. Thank you for summarizing the movie. Yeah, truly, like there are a lot of spoilers in this episode, but I think even with all of the spoilers we have for you, you will see extra stuff if you watch the movie.
There is more to uncover in the actual film.
Yeah.
So go for it. Hey, it's Corinne. Welcome to this episode's mid-break. Moiya is checking out the Babbling Stream, so it's a great time to give a shout out to our patrons who support this podcast every single month. Thank you, as always, to our Sun-like stars, Sharn Llewellyn, and Finn, and Peyton. And you can support us, hear your name on this pod, make it to our Patreon star chart, all by supporting us on Patreon for just about $1 per episode. Find the star chart, Patreon info, and more at our website, palebluepod.com, or by going right to patreon.com/palebluepod. And if you can't support us financially, that's fine. We love you. You are still space. Another great way to support us is to share the show with your friends and leave us a rating and a reviewing. And that is how you say that word.
I also want to tell you about Brilliant.org. Are you looking for a fun, no-pressure way to learn math and science? You have to check out Brilliant.org. It's the best way to learn math and science interactively online. Brilliant has thousands of lessons in math, science, and data analysis, and they're adding new ones each month. You can enjoy fun storytelling and guided problem solving while playing. On Brilliant, your natural curiosity will drive you, not the threat of a test. Brilliant doesn't just teach you facts and formulas, they actually develop your intuition for these subjects through interactive gameplay. Their science courses can help you get a deeper understanding of things we talk about a lot here, like electricity and magnetism and special relativity, or you can branch out and take their classes on geometry foundational logic. Whatever you learn on Brilliant, you'll have a fun time doing it. Go to brilliant.org/palebluepod to get a 30-day free trial, and the first 200 people will get 20% off their annual subscription. And I have a podcast recommendation. Tiny Matters is a science podcast about things small in size, a neurotransmitter, microscopic organism, or maybe an ancient gene that have had a big impact on our world, both good and bad. Tiny Matters is hosted by former scientists turned science communicators Sam Jones and Deboki Chakravarti. Sam and Deboki interview scientists each week, tracking down answers to questions like, how does our brain form memories? Could we actually terraform Mars one day? Is there a limit to how small we can make computers? Why do some people become lactose intolerant when they get older? And Sam and Deboki know that science doesn't operate in a vacuum. So every Tiny Matters episode is packed with history and real societal impact. A new episode of Tiny Matters drops every other Wednesday. You can listen to it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, or wherever you get podcasts. And I have one more podcast recommendation I'm so excited to tell you about called Tell Me About It. Tell Me About It is a new game show podcast from Multitude, all about proving that the things you like are truly interesting. Hosted by Adel Rafai from Hey Riddle Riddle and Hello from the Magic Tavern, along with Multitude's own Eric Silver. Adel plays an eccentric billionaire who has wrangled his audio butler Eric to prove that the single most interesting and coolest thing ever is the movie musical Grease. So in every episode, a guest comes on to share and defend their favorite thing through a series of absurd games and challenges. And Moiya and I have both been guests on the show, and I don't want to give anything away, but we did pretty well. Tell Me About It is out now. New episodes every other Thursday, wherever you get your pods. And finally, this is extra important. It's time for Multitude's annual survey. This is your chance to give feedback to Multitude as a whole and to each of the shows in the collective that you listen to, like Pale Blue Pod. Tell us how we're doing, where you want us to do live shows, new merch ideas, and all of your deep-seated feelings about podcasting in general. We really want to hear them, but do not tell me to stop giggling because I won't. The survey takes about 10 minutes, works great on desktop and mobile, and it ends with the biggest collage of pet photos you've probably ever seen. The results of the survey truly help us chart a path for the future. So go to multitude.productions/survey right now to fill out the survey. We're only accepting answers until June 9th, so fill it out as soon as you can. That's multitude.productions/survey. Or click the link in this episode description. You hear our voices all the time, and now we want to hear yours. Okay, love you, bye.
All right, well, the time has come.
Let's do it.
Let's get into our peeves. What bothered us about this movie? Corinne, I want to know so bad what you think.
Okay, this movie I didn't tell you this yet. I watched this movie over the last 3 nights because I started it and then I was like, I can't do any more of this movie right now. So I need to move on.
I would love to know what were the breaking points?
Okay. Night 1 ended with, I think, Bubbles' death. So pretty far in.
Yeah.
Like over an hour in. Night 2 ended, I think, in the middle of some battle. Like it got shorter every time, the amount I was willing to watch. And then night 3 I watched to the end, which is like only 20 minutes.
Okay.
My first peeve is that, like we said before, we're meeting aliens from 1,000 planets. Every one is a human body shape. Everyone has 2 arms, 2 legs, and shakes hands.
The shaking hands
There was like
me.
one where they were like, let's do something fun with this one. Like they spit on each other or something. But I was like, guys, there's 1,000 planets that we're talking about that are all inhabited and they all look like us?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so.
Mm-mm. Like that... to me is just lazy. It is a lack of imagination. It would have been so easy for them to show like a slithering thing or a floating ball of gas or like you don't have to resort to torso with 4 limbs and a head.
Yes.
But that's what they did for every single alien species that we saw.
Every single one.
Yeah.
And like they look like some are like kind of troll-like or fishes or something, but it's like boring. It just wasn't creative in that way.
Yeah. If you're going to give me a city of 1,000 planets, give me some weird-looking aliens that don't know about how to shake hands.
Yes. Like, I want to see something I've never seen before.
Yeah. Use some of your $220 million to pay people to think up weird aliens.
Yeah. I was thinking during the movie, I was like, if you had to cut $30 million from this budget so that it like would be profitable, where would that money even come from? Because I just didn't know where it was.
Right. I saw an article that said they did not have a science consultant for this.
Okay, that makes sense.
Had they used just give me like $20,000, I will make aliens for you. I'll do it.
Yeah, that was really disappointing to me. I just thought it, maybe because it was based on like this existing IP that it didn't want to stray too far, but I have no idea. I think you can make those creative leaps. Mm-hmm. But anyway.
Yeah, that's a great peeve to start with. Mm-hmm. My first peeve is that because they didn't have a science consultant who actually knew how big things are and how long it takes for things to happen, their time and distance scales are super off.
Oh my God, I thought this too.
So in the very beginning with the montage explaining how the Alpha Station was made and how it had to move away from Earth, I'm pretty sure there was a time code that said 2031 and it was already like a built thing. I was like, that's very optimistic.
I saw that too, and I was like, we're not doing that.
No, we are not going to have a giant space station in 8 years. So that was off. And you don't even need a science consultant, I think, to know that we are not going to have that in 2031. But like, okay, fine. Maybe they're not trying to be realistic or faithful to our current timeline. Sure. But they also fucked up the scale of space. So I don't remember if I heard it in the movie, but I did see it in an article that the Alpha Station supposedly travels 700 million miles to get to its point in deep space where it is away from Earth and can't ruin it with its gravitational pull. Corinne, do you know where 700 million miles away from us is?
I don't. But I feel like it's wrong.
It's like between Jupiter and Saturn.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's like well within the solar system, and they describe it as this super distant zone of deep space where they're not near to anything and can't ruin anything with its gravity. I hated that so much.
I didn't catch that, and of course you hated that because that is so stupid.
Like, just pick a bigger number. Just like. Yeah, use light years. I know that they understood light years.
Yeah, well, they do understand light years because they like travel, like they'll make those weird jumps like in hyperspeed or whatever, like to the next universe.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's one point after the scene in the big marketplace where they get the converter back from like the black market. Valerian is on a video call with like a general or someone, the minister, his boss,
yeah, who Rihanna plays briefly in that sequence.
Oh yeah,
she's like, give me your work or whatever.
That guy and Rihanna, I think, are the only 2 black people in the movie.
I think you're right.
Yeah, and so Valerian's on this call, and the boss guy is like, you're 20 minutes late. You're supposed to be 19 light years away by now or whatever. And Valerian's like, I'll be there in 10 minutes.
I know. When he said that, I was like, what?
But no, 700 million miles. That's how far Alpha goes.
Bad. Okay, this is like a social peeve of mine. They're called the City of 1,000 Planets. We're in the future. It's the 28th century. Unity and peace is like the mission of Alpha, and yet Rihanna's character describes herself as an illegal immigrant, which to me is like, we still are dealing with we've created this world where people from 1,000 planets live together, and yet we've still created these walls of you are a legal person, quote unquote, and you are not. And that makes me so livid. It makes me livid here in the world we live in now. Mm-hmm. And then to see that we've imagined a totally new way of being, and it includes our society's like greatest flaws. We did not have to carry that into the world. And also because we don't actually follow Rihanna's character through any kind of redemption. It's this kind of life of suffering we're made to believe. It just is like, we didn't need to see this at all. Mm-hmm. It could have just been like she loves her life or something else. I don't know. It just made me really sad, and her character was not deserving of its fate. Mm-mm. I don't know. I just have to think humans would evolve to a place where we don't describe people as illegal, and we don't have systems that enforce that illegality or anything like it.
Yeah, I think
it was so American.
It was very American. I agree completely with your peeve. A lot of the bubble story, I think, was not done the way that it should have been.
Yeah.
But if I'm being super generous here, the movie came out in 2017. Yeah. When that was illegal immigrants were.
True, that was a
hot topic, and so maybe they were trying by like having Rihanna, someone who is pretty much like universally beloved,
yes, exactly,
deservedly so, play this character who then dies and like doesn't get the ending that she deserves, and then like maybe that was their way of trying to build sympathy for this movement. For this cause? I don't know. Not cool.
I think that's a sweet, like, interpretation of it. I do. And that could be the intention for sure. But I was like... And there was, like, an implied caste system in the society of Alpha, too. And I was like, guys, we gotta let this go. We gotta move on from what's holding us back here and let Alpha be idyllic.
Yeah.
And of course it's not.
No, we can't do that. We have to keep taking our real world problems and put it into our fiction. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. All right, my next peeve. So it's also about the movement of Alpha. So they say in that montage at the beginning that the Alpha station, and it's the Alpha Intergalactic Space Station, that it travels these 700 million fucking miles. It travels by the Magellan Current.
Okay.
Named after, and I quote, the great explorer Magellan. First of all, Magellan Current is not a thing in the Milky Way galaxy. They made that up. That's fine. Sci-fi makes stuff up in space all the time. So the Magellan Current, not a real thing. Even the idea of like a current in the Milky Way, like similar to what you would find in a stream or in the ocean, not a thing. But the real issue I take with this is that I would hope that in 400 years, well, actually, no, this is 2031, right? So I would hope that they would have understood that Magellan was not a great explorer. Like, we know this now. He didn't finish circumnavigating the globe. It was not all his idea to do that mission. And we shouldn't name a big non-existent current after him. Even, so right now, there's a discussion among some astronomers to rename the large and small Magellanic Clouds. These are small little satellite galaxies that orbit in the Milky Way's dark matter halo. And people want to rename them because they were named after Magellan, who didn't discover them and didn't finish doing the thing that he's like famous for doing, you know? Mm-hmm. And so some astronomers are like, we should rename them with words from indigenous languages from the southern hemisphere. But then, like, we would have to choose one language over another, and that gets tricky. So my favorite name that I have seen is to rename them the Nebecula, which is what they used to be called, because we can see these galaxies without telescopes. So people were talking about them for thousands of years, and in Latin they were called the Nebeculae.
I love that. I wish they had done that.
Yeah.
No, but they didn't.
Of course not. So yeah, that's one of my peeves.
Okay, this might be, I mean, I did not enjoy this movie, but I had fun watching it. Does that make sense?
Oh, total sense.
I was into it, and as I've said in, like, most episodes, I've recently watched something very bad that I hated, so, like, this is on par for like how I spend my nights. So I'm unsure if this one is a peeve or a thieve, but every character dynamic surprised me. Every interaction that any two people had was never the reaction I was expecting them to have. People were never reacting to each other in a way that I expected or was consistent with how they were the scene before. So it was very... And again, I told Moiya this. I might have smoked some weed before I watched this. So maybe I just am not understanding humans right now. But I could not get... I couldn't quite grasp the dynamic between Laureline and Valerian. I was like, sometimes it's flirty, sometimes it's snarky, and like I know that relationships can be like that, especially in like a flirty stage, but I really felt no chemistry between these people.
Absolutely none. I agree with you.
So every time he was like, marry me, I was like, I think he's having some kind of stroke. Like, this doesn't make any sense with how he wants to spend his time or life.
Like, the only sweet moment between them is when he's about to go off into the big market and she, like, kisses him on the cheek before he runs away. That's it. Everything else, you're totally right. Like, I didn't get the sense that she would ever accept his proposal. I thought, in her mind, she was just like, you're a fuckboy. I don't care about you.
Yes. And also, like, there's one scene where she gives a monologue about, like, what love is. And I was like... This is so weird. Like, it was just so weird. It
seemed out of place. It seemed out of character. And yeah, this is one of my peeves. I hate an argument that's like, love is more powerful than everything. I hate it.
Oh my God, me too. Especially when it feels so unearned.
That's interesting. I don't know if that's a peeve or a thief either. But my overall like review of this, what I wrote at the top of my notebook was, it's not what I expected, but once I caught on, everything was utterly predictable.
And that is true. And it was.
Like, what you said about the characters' interactions being unpredictable, I agree. But, like, all of the beats of the movie, like, I knew exactly what was going to happen every single time.
Yep. Yeah, like, all of these mini adventures they go on in the name of this grander adventure, it is pretty clear... Okay, now you're going to save him, and then she's going to save you, and then you're going to have to do it again, and then it's again.
Another science-based peeve. The fuck is exospace? Like, it's obviously their attempt at explaining faster than light travel, because when in that scene that I mentioned earlier where Valerian says to his boss, like, yeah, we'll be 19 light years away in like 10 minutes, they then say, prepare to enter exospace. And it seems like they create this little rift in the universe that they go into. And it's very reminiscent of what other sci-fi franchises have done, where they have like a subspace or a hyperspace, this like almost dimension outside of the normal fabric of space-time that you can slip into, and because it's somehow outside of normal space-time, you can travel faster than light, or like maybe it's a wormhole thing. I don't know, and that is my peeve. They didn't explain it at all, except to use this one buzzword that they made up and assumed we would understand, of exospace. And that's how they get around. Why? Why? And why call it exospace?
Yeah.
We already have, like, it would have been better. It would have been better if they had used something that other franchises have used before that isn't like, I don't know, copyrighted or something. Like, call it subspace. People know what that is.
That's the kind of handholding I needed, because everything was being redefined in their world. I actually had no, like, key, like, no maps key to understand what we are always talking about. And like, it's not completely incomprehensible, but there's like an ease to watching a movie where like you don't have to be piecing things together as you're watching it. I have one more peeve, which is just in the end when they're in their spacecraft kissing and we zoom out. That is the like I forget what the technical term is, but I've seen it in like my Space Center days. It's the capsule from like an Apollo mission that would orbit the moon. I just don't think that it is a ship that was created to sustain wherever the hell they are in space right now.
Oh, no.
It was like, you guys, you could make again, use your imagination and make something super cool. This is the 28th century, and you are using a ship from 1969.
Yeah, the design was like very old and not in line with the aesthetics of all of the other technology that they had. I do think, though, that like that capsule is not meant to actually travel through space.
Exactly.
It's not. I think what happened was so they were on the Pearl's ship when they escaped Alpha at the end, and I think the Pearls like put Laureline and Valerian, just like ejected them in this little capsule and sent like a beacon for someone to come get them. Yeah,
that makes sense, because I think it is in line with my dream version of this movie, where he's this like kind of bad boy contractor who gets like commissioned by the government when they're stumped or something, or when they need something from the black market, and he's like their go-to. Where he would have this like kind of like a vintage car style thing that he's repaired and made better. But again, that is a version of the movie that this is not. That is completely made up, what I've described, and I do think it would be a good movie, but it is certainly not Valerian.
Nope, not this one. Okay, I have a few more peeves, so I'll try to get through them so we can say some nice things about this movie, because there were some nice things.
Yes, there were.
So Alex, the computer, gives what I think is a very interesting but extremely clunky exposition dump when Valerian and Laureline first arrive at the Alpha station, where they ask for an update. And like, it's unclear how long they've been away from Alpha, but they ask for an update when they get back, and Alex just like gives all the numbers about the Alpha station. And she's the computer says there are this many species from this many planets, and the Alpha station is divided into these zones, where there's like the submerged part and the I don't know, there are like other parts. They would know that.
Yep. They've lived this life.
That was purely for the viewer's benefit, and it was clumsy, and I didn't appreciate it. There are better ways to do exposition dumps. Like the movie opened with an exposition montage. You could have told us about the different regions of the Alpha station at the beginning when you were establishing how it works. Like, you didn't need it in the middle of the movie. I'm getting heated.
This movie just had so much that I can totally see why a writer was like, how the hell are we going to get this across? And it's like, actually, what if you decide to cut half of what you're trying to say and then do things in like a sophisticated way?
Corinne, we should have been consulted on this movie.
I know.
All right, my next peeve is so there's the scene after the Pearls break into that little like summit thing, and they kidnap the commander with the goo cocoons, and Valerian goes after them to get the commander back, and Laureline is directing him through the Alpha station so that he can get to the ship.
Forgot about that part.
She says, like, turn 130 degrees east or whatever. Why are they using cardinal directions on a spaceship that doesn't have a sun and has thousands of other species from thousands of other planets?
And doesn't have up or down.
Down. Like, she gave a single direction. There are many layers to this ship. She didn't say anything about what level they were on. That pissed me off. So it was a small thing, but I was like, that's just not how they would manage directions.
I also have a question about that, and I don't know if you'll know the answer, but when he bursts through the wall and he's now in the like full space of the middle of Alpha, like he's not technically in any hallway of Alpha. Alpha's moving, right? Like, it's not anchored in space in this like one spot in the way that like Earth would be.
Okay.
Like, wouldn't he have like been like hit by the ship?
No, because he so this is like you keep the momentum. So he is still in the system.
Okay.
So it's like if you're like being very irresponsible and you're standing on top of a moving bus, if you jump, you are going to...
Oh, you're still in line with the bus?
Yeah, because you still have the forward momentum that you had when you were standing on the bus. So he still has the momentum of the ship.
If you're being irresponsible. It's something I do not endorse, everyone.
Yeah, I just didn't want people to think I was condoning that type of behavior. So yeah.
Okay, that explains it. Because I was like, this was strange to me. Okay.
Okay. I think my last one, because we've kind of touched on the other ones here, there were just a bunch of weird anachronisms. Like, there were things that felt like they were pulled directly from our modern Earth culture and put into this culture hundreds of years in the future. And the example I have is Laureline has an Ivy League education.
Yes. Oh my God, Moiya, yes! So I watched this whole movie, God bless my husband Eli, because he sat with me on all 3 nights of this movie and watched it. And he was losing his mind over that part. He was like, there is no way we still or should have Ivy League education in the hundreds of years in the future.
Why?
I completely agree. I was so mad. I was just like, there's no... And there are other ways to communicate that, like, he's the bad boy and she's the academic girl.
Yeah. So, and things like they use our modern sign for radioactivity to describe the radioactive zone.
Yeah.
There's just like a lot of weird stuff like that.
Yeah.
But that's the last of my peeves. Except for it was too long. Should have been shorter.
Too long.
But now we can say what we liked. There were some things. Would you like to go first?
I will go first, and we have touched on it already multiple points.
Okay.
But the first thief of my heart is Rihanna. It was really fun to see her in it, and she really was pretty good. And she just is so beautiful. She looks so good. She's a shapeshifter, so she's in like many different outfits throughout when she is in like the Rihanna form. And I was like, how fucking dare you just be so stunning in any of this?
In any of it. And just like, there's pole dancing, there's hula hooping.
Yeah.
At one point she has like a long rope and she like twists it around her body like the rope is a hula hoop. At one point she like does a split but in the air, so like one foot is on the ground and another foot is up, and she like puts the hula hoop down her body and transforms as she's coming. Gorgeous. Everything about that scene was gorgeous.
There has to be a significant budget that was simply the costume she has for this sequence.
Yeah.
Because she's in like
her costumes
a ton
and
of
her
outfits.
appearance.
Yes. So I really loved seeing that. And I did think the sequence was weird. And I did think that there was some urgency behind him needing to get back to Laureline ASAP that is lost in that scene so that we can live in the Rihanna of it all. But it was really fun to see her.
Yeah. When she came on the screen, I just wrote in giant capital letters,
I gasped.
Rihanna, what?
I truly gasped. And I think I had heard that she was in this movie, like, when I was looking it up. But I thought it was like I don't know, they call down to Earth or something, and there she, I didn't think she was like a character. Yeah, that was really fun.
So good. The first thief that stole my heart was, and you talked about this earlier, I really liked their reasoning for moving the Alpha Station. Like it's based on a faulty foundation that the station got that big in the first place. But once they establish that the station is really big, I like that they are moving it away because it means that they are considering like gravitational and tidal influences. So good on them.
Great job. My next thief is the bit with the food offerings. So all of the aliens are like in a line, and Cara Delevingne is the last one, and they're going up to this emperor offering him like some weird jello full of bugs or something, and he takes a bite and he's like, yuck. And then he has this little assistant or chef or something who's like, hoping to see that the emperor likes the food he made. And with each bite, he spits it out. He thinks it's disgusting. And every time you're like, did he like that one? Aww. And I have to say, in a very childlike way, where like kids, like babies will laugh at like a pattern that you make, I thought that was funny. Every time I thought it was a little bit stupid and a little bit so funny that he kept spitting out the stupid jello.
Great. Yeah, there are some moments of comic relief. There have to be. Like the scene that we didn't even talk about where Laureline has to find out where Valerian is, so she goes to get the jellyfish, but to do that she has to enlist the help of some like weird submarine guy named Bob, and he looks like a character out of Treasure Island or like Treasure
really
Planet. Which one is it?
Well, Treasure Island is a book, But I think Treasure Planet is the movie that that you're talking about.
That one, Treasure Planet. He has this like mustache. He has a weird eye. Like,
yes. Treasure
First
Planet.
of all, they convince him, like the way that they summon him is by like presenting a bottle of like champagne or whatever.
It was so funny. And then he pops that bottle of champagne and so much explodes out that I was like, you're gonna have nothing to drink.
Oh yeah, so that was great. I loved the whole sequence where we got to see what life on Mule was like.
I really liked that too.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like that they just looked like the Na'vi. I don't like that they were so humanoid.
Yeah.
But I thought that whole sequence was gorgeous. The world, like the landscape, was very aesthetically pleasing.
Mm-hmm.
I like that there was no English spoken in that scene.
Yes.
It was all the Pearl's native language. There were some subtitles in English, but not
many.
Everything. Yeah. And I just thought that there was a lot of really cool world building in that scene, and I thought it was presented in a really beautiful and artistic way, and I wish that the world building in the rest of the movie had been presented in a similar way.
Yeah, I really liked that too. I think I had wished we met Valerian first and then saw that sequence, because we came off of the opening sequence of how Alpha was built, and then we immediately went into this Mule sequence, and I was like, wait, who's the main character? Who am I following? I needed like a slightly different order, but I completely agree. I was like really enthralled with like the world of Mule. I'm like, there's these pearls that they get and they clink together, and she washes her face with them and she's shiny. And I wanted a lot more of that.
I wrote yes in like big capital letters with lots of S's. Yes, face washing with pearls. Yes, cute lizard thing.
The little lizard guy.
The little lizard. I thought the lizards were very cute. So yeah, everything about that loved.
Mm-hmm. This is so stupid that I wrote this. One of the thieves of my heart, it wasn't longer than it was. So, thank God it wasn't any longer than what they gave me. I'm grateful for that.
You're right. That is a blessing. The big marketplace where Valerian has to go and get the converter back. Yeah, I thought it was really awesome because they, and I think this is one of the few times that they did exposition well. It was very simply stated, the big market is in another dimension. Mm-hmm. And so I thought they did that exposition well, and then the way that they executed the like different dimension of it all, I thought was really great. So they have to put on these glasses to see the other dimension. They have to wear special gloves to touch stuff in the other dimension. And like tourists are coming to this world all the time to shop at this big market. And so you go and you're shopping in another dimension. And in order to take stuff from there into our dimension, it has to go through like a matter converter type of thing. And I thought that was really awesome. There are several times when you get an aerial view of the marketplace, but in our dimension, and it just looks like an empty desert. Yes. And that, like, when they were shifting back and forth between those views, I was impressed.
I did really like that, too. It felt like a long time ago I did, like, a VR style escape room where you like wear the headset and like walk through what is actually an empty room, but you feel like it is like a mountain or whatever because you're in the headset. And that's exactly what it felt like. Every time we cut to the desert, it was like, oh, this is how stupid I looked when I was doing that like Star Wars escape room in the mall, because I did do it in a mall.
Of course you did. I was wondering though, because Valerian at some point goes down several levels in the big market. Like he falls through, it must have been like 20 floors.
Moiya, that's one of the things I wrote down too. I was like, how did that happen?
But then you zoom back out
and he's on the desert.
He's just on the ground, like on the same level. How does that work? That was less well executed.
Agree.
Do you have any other themes?
My only other theme, I did like Cara Delevingne in this. Not as much as I love Rihanna, but I did think she did a good job. And I think I needed more stereotyping. Like, I needed more of him being a bad person and her being, like, the academic to, like, understand what was going on. But she was fun to watch. And I don't think I've seen a movie with her before. Like, I think to me, she's more of, like, a internet celebrity. Not in, like, an influencer way, but, like, I only really experience her through, like, pop culture I'm taking in.
You need to watch Carnival Row. She's really good in that.
Yes.
Also, she has this like documentary series on Hulu about sex and sexuality.
I have seen ads for that, but I never watched it.
It's one of the hottest things I've ever seen. Because it's one of the hottest people talking about sex.
It really is, yeah.
Episodes. Okay, I have a couple more thieves.
Yeah.
The first is that chase scene when Valerian is chasing after the Pearls who have just kidnapped the commander, and the Pearls ship that they're in splits up into like 1,000 smaller pieces. That was great.
That
because
is cool.
Similar to my general peeve in science fiction of too many humanoid aliens, I think that spaceships typically look too similar to each other, like from different alien species. And this one was an interesting shape, and I, at least, have never seen that before, of like splitting up into a swarm, and I
that was very cool.
And then my last thieves are those 3 little aardvark gargoyles, the little guys, and I don't remember what their species was called.
Me neither.
But they seem just like the gossips.
I love that.
Alpha Station. So the first time we meet them, Laureline is standing outside the door of the big Human Federation summit, and these 3 little things, they're like, they come up to maybe her hips. They have wings. They have these long aardvark
I think they have a tail
noses.
too. Yeah.
Yeah. And there are 3 of them, and they like offer her information. They give her some information for free, but the rest she would have to pay for. And then she seeks them out when she has to find Valerian, and they help her get on the submarine with the weird like submarine captain guy.
Yes.
But they're just so, I think they're another moment of levity, of like laughter in this. They're just so cute.
They were really, I loved how they had no agenda beyond making money.
Yes.
Like, it was like, I'll help the good guys, I'll help the bad guys, I don't care, I'll just, it'll be $50 or whatever.
But not in a way that felt overly gross, like the guy in the big market.
Yes, it didn't feel like him.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like him.
No, it was just like, we're 3 little guys and we need to make a living, and the only thing we know how to do is exchange information.
Exactly.
They're so cute. I wrote that they are my favorite species shown in that entire movie.
Yeah, they were really
Even
fun.
more than the Pearls from Mule. Even more than the Converters.
The Converters. Aww.
The Converters were cuter, but I think the little aardvark gargoyles were more interesting.
They were more fun for sure. Like, I could imagine an animated show that is a spin-off of these little guys.
Yes, I would watch that. So now it is time for us to go through our rubric and decide how many planets out of 15 we want to give Valerian and the City of 1,000 Planets. We have used this rubric before. There are 5 categories: story, scenery, steaminess, scientific accuracy, and soothing. So let's start with story. Out of 3 planets, Corinne, how would you rate the story in this movie?
Okay, I'm torn because I didn't enjoy the story, but there was a lot of it.
Look, more is not always better, Corinne.
So true. I think this is a 1.5 to me.
Oh, okay, great. I was totally expecting you to give it 1, and I would have been okay with that.
I wanted to be slightly more generous. I'm worried I'm being a grump.
All right, let's give it 1.5. I think that it was definitely too long. They didn't need the 2 separate rescue missions where Laureline rescues Valerian and then he goes back and rescues her. We didn't need the bubble story. I'm glad we had it. I hate how it ended, but we didn't need it.
It was not necessary.
1.5. Mm-hmm. On to scenery, which we define as a combination of writing and production of the movie. I will say
is hard.
It's hard. I thought it was beautiful.
Yeah.
Like it's a very nice looking movie.
It is. And that's why I think it's so challenging, because I think the writing was not on par with the production.
Mm-mm. But I'm still willing to let the looks of everything carry this category and give it like a 2.
Yeah, I'm into that. I think it's also funny that it didn't look like it. Avatar looks slightly more sophisticated than this movie, but not by like billions of dollars more sophisticated. So it was funny that, like, I think people can tolerate this level of production, and we don't need to keep doing Avatar level stuff.
No, more than tolerate. We can enjoy this.
Yeah.
We don't need you to spend billions of dollars and several decades making a movie.
Okay,
all right.
Steaminess.
Cara
Delevingne is extremely hot, and so is Rihanna.
Yeah.
So this is a 3 to me.
This is a 3 to me, too. Yeah, I agree 100%. As soon as I saw, knowing that Cara Delevingne was in it, I was like, finally, we'll have a steamy
movie.
Because both of the other movies we have reviewed have had, like, 0 in steaminess. So I was already sold, but then the Rihanna scene really...
That threw me.
Yeah. So 3, for sure. Scientific accuracy.
Yeah, I don't know about this one.
Between the 700 million miles and the completely humanoid aliens and the total lack of consideration of what, like, a truly intergalactic, like, civilization hundreds of years in the future would be like, it's getting at most a 1 from me, but probably much less.
I would do 0.5. Too high?
So the way that I think about this is, did I learn any new science from this?
No.
Is it possible that people could learn actively wrong science from this? And I think the answer to the first is no, and the answer to the second is yes, which to me is like a sin.
Sin. Right, just write sin for that one.
Sin without.
Yeah. Okay, it's a no.
Okay, so it's getting a 0 from me. I'm sorry, that might be too harsh, but I feel strongly.
No, I think if it had sold itself as like a Star Trek, Star Wars thing, then it would be easier to forgive, but it was like half trying to be real.
Yeah. And, when you don't hire science consultants for your giant science fiction production, you're not going to get a good score.
Exactly. You're going to get little points here.
And soothing.
Soothing. I don't think I felt soothed by this movie. I didn't feel more scared.
Yeah.
I did feel like a little anxious about how many adventures were going on. I was like, how are they going to do all this?
But that's the story. That is not the space of it.
Well, I don't know the summary, because like I think it's kind of like a neutral answer for me. It's not like it was soothing or it wasn't. It was kind of like, I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, I actually was kind of soothed.
Okay.
I really enjoy seeing representation of collaborative intergalactic or I guess it's interplanetary cooperation.
Yeah, I like
and like
that.
Society. Yeah, so like, the fact that there are these different regions of Alpha Station and they seem to have their own specialized things that they do. Like there seems to be an agricultural part and there's like a tech development part, and it seems like there's something for every type of alien to do on this world, except apparently for glamopods. But yeah, I am always soothed by peaceful-ish representations of that. So
yes.
I would give it like a 1.5.
Yeah, I like that. I think I hadn't thought of the unity part is so early in this extremely long movie. And to me, again, watching it over 3 days, that was days ago. So I'm completely forgetting that I really did enjoy that, of like, how nice, we're all collaborating.
Yeah. All right, well, with that, with a 1.5 in story, 2 in scenery, 3 in steaminess, our highest steamy score yet.
Yeah, I might have saved this one.
0 in scientific accuracy and 1.5 in soothing. That is a total of 8.
Yeah.
8 out of 15 planets.
Okay, not as low as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, it's not terrible. Overall, and Corinne, I would love to hear your recommendation after this, but my official recommendation is, if you have 2.5 hours to kill and you want to see a pretty movie that honestly you don't really need to pay attention to because it doesn't make that much sense anyway, I'd say go for it.
I completely agree with you. And I think you could be like me and put an hour in and then dip out and you'll get a good enough taste of what this is.
I'll be completely honest. Like, my TV is in my living room. I went to the kitchen to like wash some dishes.
I came back to the movie.
I came back to the movie. Yeah.
I love that. Mm-hmm. Do what
and
we
I
do.
Didn't really miss anything.
You really didn't.
Yeah.
Well, listeners, no matter what planet you're from or on, I hope you remember that you are space.
You sure are. Bye. Pale Blue Pod was created by Moiya McTier and Corinne Caputo with help from the Multitude Productions team. Our theme music is by Evan Johnston, and our cover art is by Shay McMullen. Our audio editing is handled by the incomparable Misha Stanton.
Stay in touch with us and the universe by following @PaleBluePod on Twitter and Instagram, or check out our website, palebluepod.com. We're a member of Multitude, an independent podcast collective and production studio. If you like Pale Blue Pod, you will love the other shows that live on our website at multitude.productions.
If you want to support Pale Blue Pod financially, join our community over at patreon.com/palebluepod. For just about $1 per episode, you get a shout out on one of our shows and access to director's commentary for each episode. The very best way, though, to help Pale Blue Pod grow is to share it with your friends. So send this episode, this link, to one person who you think will like it, and we will appreciate you for forever.
Thanks for listening to Pale Blue Pod. You'll hear us again next week.
Bye.